Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of President McGee, who couldn't be here this morning, welcome to the campus of Quincy University, and I know many of you have traveled quite a ways to be here. We're gathering here this morning to celebrate the legacy of this university's finest student athletes and the enduring, more importantly, and as importantly, the enduring spirit that defines this university. Thank you all for being here, inductees, families, coaches, alumni, and of course the friends of Quincy University. This is a great day for Quincy University. We're taking time out of very busy lives to gather here and celebrate former student athletes being inducted into a university's Hall of Fame. What a special day. This is a significant and deeply meaningful honor for a former college athlete. I hope you all will join me and capture this moment here this morning, because it's a special morning. When I look around the room at you inductees, I realize that I do not know many of you personally. So I think to myself, what do I automatically know about you, you inductees? What is automatically in place that I don't really need to know, but yet I know? What happens that allows an athlete at a college or university to achieve Hall of Fame status? How does that happen? As a former coach and a careful observer of the athletic scene over the years, I'd like to offer at least one common thread that allows me to know something about you automatically. And it can apply to all of our inductees. To achieve Hall of Fame status, you didn't accept your current levels of performance along the way. You played up. You played over of what you thought originally you could achieve. Maybe you had loads of raw natural talent, but you still had to maximize it. You pushed yourself to find the upper limit of your performance level. So, as you compiled records of personal statistics and achievements, you developed a very strong work ethic, which permeated your teammates and usually contained what I call the Michael Jordan effect. You made the people around you better at what they do. That's a great personal trait. You were excelling yourself and yet helping others to excel. I know that about you. That's an excellent personal trait, and one for which, in my opinion, you should be very proud. It's also a trait that can find you in the Hall of Fame. To our inductees this morning, we honor not just what you've achieved, but how you achieved it. Your time at Quincy University wasn't just about winning. It was also about leading and growing and embodying the values that this institution stands for, especially our Franciscan values. As you grow older, which you may do, as you grow older, life can reduce itself to a collection of memories. It helps when those memories are good ones. And we at Quincy University hope that your memories of this university are good ones. So all of this is to say, on behalf of President McGee, welcome to the 2025 Quincy University Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Emeritus. Next, I'd like to welcome Father Joe Zimmerman for our invocation.
Oh God, we thank you for all the athletes, coaches, and supporters, especially this year's inductees, who have graced Quincy University over the years. The memories that we have of our own past victories and defeats can help us appreciate how our memories of those victories and even the defeats can still enliven us today. May we join our own stories to the stories from our religious backgrounds, beginning with the stories of Jesus and Mary. Oh God, may our memories be a way for us to know your love for us and for all of your creation. Help us continue to make Quincy University a welcoming place for athletes and non-athletes. Help today's students to overcome the obstacles that face them in the new challenges of our time, as we all face new challenges when we were young. Amen.
Thank you, Father Joe. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's get started. Edsel Bester. Edsel Bester is a 1957 graduate of Quincy University with a degree in elementary education. He was one of the first African-American student athletes at Quincy College. Edsel was a member of the Quincy University basketball and baseball team. He actually played on the first Quincy University basketball team to compete in the national tournament, but his exploits were more visible on the baseball diamond. He played on the 55, 56, and 57 baseball teams. He was forced to be reckoned with at the plate with a combined batting average of .395 over his 3 seasons for the Hawks. Edsel was an outstanding fastball hitter and could hit any pitch with authority. He was a line drive hitter, could also hit the ball over the fence. He was a dangerous hitter with runners in scoring position. He batted in a 3-hole in the lineup, and he believed that striking out was unacceptable. Since his graduation in 1957, Edsel has remained committed to staying connected with Quincy University. In the words of his friend and teammate, Norm Oshner, Edsel never abandoned his primary focus to give service to his alma mater, which continued long after graduation and much beyond his performance on the basketball or baseball field. Edsel taught health and physical education in the St. Louis public schools for 39 years. He also officiated men's basketball for 37 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Edsel Bester.
Good morning, everyone. It is a good day to be a Hawk. I have been a Hawk for over 72 years. God has blessed me because I am now 90 years of age. I am filled with pride and gratitude. I am grateful, thankful, and humble to receive this honor. Thank you, Hall of Fame Committee. I know I am standing here this morning for baseball as well as basketball, but I feel a strong presence of our legendary Hall of Fame coach, Harry Foster, who coached our team in 54, 55 when we went to the Nationals, and when he coached our team in 56, which was the best 2 years we had in win and losses. I love Coach Harry Foster. I remember when I was about to graduate in 57, I was walking across our campus, as small as it is, and I ran into Coach Harry Foster. And he said, "Edsel, where are your parents going to stay when they come up for your graduation?" And I was about to tell him where they were going to stay. But before I could say anything, Coach Foster said, "Your parents are staying with me." In the 50s, ladies and gentlemen, we was dealing with segregation, discrimination, and racism. So my parents was not able to stay in the motels and hotels. When I graduated in 57, Harry Foster, that was his last year here. When I graduated in 57, within 6 months, I was over in Germany. I got drafted immediately about 6 months after I got out of college. When I got out of college in 60, because of the love I had for Harry Foster and his wife, Rose, we made her his assistant because he never did have an assistant coach. But when I got out of the service in 60, I started calling Coach Harry Foster. I was calling him once or twice a year. Then I started calling him 3 and 4 times a year. The next thing you know, I was calling him every month. Then it got to the point I was calling him every week. I want to thank Pat Atwell for taking my call back in 2004 because I felt Harry Foster deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. So when I called Pat and I introduced myself and told him about our team, Pat said, "Your team is an important part of the history of this university." He said, "Sit down and write me a letter about your team." So that was in 2004. So the Hall of Fame committee had already met. I think they met in February, and I called him in March. And Coach was 82 years of age. So I said, "Pat, can the Hall of Fame committee consider getting him in 2004? And Pat said, "I don't think so because we have already met." But I called Pat every month trying to get Coach in. I think Pat got sick of me. But Pat, I wrote him that letter, and he said, "I presented to the Hall of Fame committee in 2005. And he submitted that letter in 2005. And he called me from the Hall of Fame committee and said, "Your coach is now in the Hall of Fame." And I was so proud. And I said, "Pat, please, will you call him and tell him that he's in the Hall of Fame?" And Pat said, "No, Edsel, you should be the one to call him." So Coach was 83 years of age when he went into the Hall of Fame. And he thought he was old. I'm 90. I know some of you are saying to yourself, Hall of Fame? When you were considering Edsel, were you nearsighted or were you foresighted bringing someone in at 90 years of age? But I would like to think that Hall of Fame committee had perfect 20/20 eyesight. I want to thank Dr. Moore, Mayor Dr. Moore, and the Hall of Fame Committee for that honor. Coach Harry Forster came to Quincy College in August of 1954. In his first year, he took us to a national tournament. We had 4 black players on that team. And I think I am the only one left alive at this particular point. So I would like to say their names out loud. The black players on that team was Ed Crenshaw, Dick Thompson, Bill Lemon, and Edsel Bester. The other 6 players on that team was Sid Tucker, Jim Hubbard, Pat Flanagan, George Grandel, Art Willenberg, and Dick Overhue. I think we were possibly the first team in the country to put 4 black players on the floor at one time. We did not get credit for that. I think Texas Western or UTEP, they made a movie about them when they put 5 on the floor. In 54-55, we had 4 black players. But the next year, we picked up a young man, and any of you who live here in Quincy know this young man. He's no longer alive. But we picked up Ben Bunbury from Drake University, and he was very special. You think our 54-55 team that went to the National was a good team? It was a good team. But our 56 team was a great team. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the playoffs, in 54-55, we had to play at the University of Illinois. The NAIA and the state of Missouri said, Quincy, you have a good team. You are 14-8. But you are one of the good teams, but there are 3 other good teams that are outstanding ball clubs. So what we had to do to decide if you go to the national tournament, there has to be a playoff between you and the other 3 teams. So those games were at Huff Gymnasium, the University of Illinois, and that was exciting because we were playing at a Big Ten school. I want to tell you about one of our players on our team, but his name was Pat Flanagan, 5'10", diabetic, one of the best ball players I have ever played with or against in my life. And he played, the other position was Dick Thompson here from Quincy, Illinois. But in that playoff game that we had to win 2. In their first game, Pat Flanagan hit 17 free throws in a row, ladies and gentlemen. And we won that game that we had to win. We won it by 1 point. But remember, Pat Flanagan hit 17 free throws in a row. In the second game, Pat Flanagan hit 6 free throws in a row, and we ended up winning that game by 2 points. That gave us the right to represent the state of Illinois in the Nationals. The sports information officer came down from the University of Illinois, and he said, he told the coach and he told us as players, He said, your player, Pat Flanagan, has set the record for Huff Gymnasium. No Big Ten team has ever done it, including Illinois. And he wanted us to know that and bring that back to Quincy College. So I don't know if that is still a record, but I want to mention Pat Flanagan. Having so many blacks on our team in the 50s, we dealt with a great deal of adversity. We were able to deal with that adversity because we had the support of our coach, our teammates, and our student body. We were family. We were family then, and we are family today. Some of those students I went to school with, my wife can tell you, and some of my family members can tell you, we are calling each other 2, 3, and 4 times out of a year. Quincy College is a special, special place. We were known as the friendliest college in America when I was here in the 50s. And I believe that to the bottom of my heart. I played baseball with the same passion that I played basketball with. I tried to do everything I could to help our team win. The players on the basketball team and baseball team, we always played for each other. We tried to make each other better because of the love and respect that we had for one another. As has been said, striking out when I played baseball was unacceptable. I batted third. You don't supposed to strike out. As a kid, I played a game called corkball. And you have a corkball bat, but no one in my neighborhood had a corkball bat, but we had broomsticks and mop sticks because we got to sweep and we got to clean. So I developed a lot of my skills for hitting playing corkball. And that game was played with a tennis ball. But when we bust the tennis ball, we didn't have anything left to hit. So what did we do? The guys was trying to come up with something. So they decided, well, let's go down and get some soda tops. You know, people had bottle sodas, and they take the cap, snap the cap off, and you have all those caps down in there. So anyway, I got to the point that I could hit soda caps. So when I played baseball, it was easy to be able to hit that baseball. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope that the 5 black basketball players that played here, I hope we will be remembered for our character, for our courage, and for our resilience. We, all 5 of us, graduated. May God bless each and every one of you that is here today, as well as your families. And God bless the Quincy University family. And thank you for listening. But let me say, I have family members here with me, and I know you have a lot of people that's got to speak. I have my niece here, Ginger Freeman. She has 2 daycare businesses. I have a family member who is a judge, Bill McHugh. He's here with his wife, Peach. Now, Bill is a judge, but we all know who the chief judge is. Next to Peach and Bill. I have my other niece, June. She has 3 master's degrees, and she graduated from the school that I think we're playing today, Kirksville or Northeast. That's the school she graduated from. Her husband played football. Al Brown, he played football at Mizzou, and he beat some teams that Mizzou can't even, they won't even say their name. But when he was at Mizzou, they beat Alabama, they beat Michigan at Michigan, they beat Oklahoma, and they beat Nebraska all in the same season. They were in the top 10. And 2 of those players went into the NFL. Now I had to get to my last 2 family members. My daughter is here from Atlanta, Georgia. Her name is Sherry. She's in sales with AT&T. My wife, we're getting ready to celebrate our 58th anniversary on the 28th of October. 58 years. My wife's name is Dorothy. She was an administrative secretary for 50 years. And her last 20 years, she worked with the judges at civil courts. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless this university.
Edsel, I'm not going to lie, it looks like you can still turn around a fastball. Paul Brown. Paul graduated from Quincy College in 1965 with an accounting degree. After earning an MBA from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, he returned to work at Quincy College for 17 years, from 67 to 84, in senior administrative positions and taught part-time. There is a QU alumni event. Paul will be there, organizing, taking tickets, selling merchandise, whatever needs to be done, all with a smile on his face and a kind word for all. Paul's passion runs deep. In the mid-'70s, he asked Coach McKenzie if he could practice with the men's soccer team. He simply wanted to learn and experience what it takes to be a nationally recognized Hawk. We have all returned to the Q for alumni events and golf tournaments, and the first person we see is Paul Brown with that big welcoming smile. Paul's been active with the Mart Heinen Club since 1967, working and participating in virtually all club events and activities. He's received the Worker of the Year Award, served on the board of directors, as an officer, club president, and also as a member. At his first board meeting as president, the previously all-male club voted to open membership to women and financially support both men's and women's sports programs at Quincy University. They have had a women's president since Paul Brown. As volunteer university representative, he accompanied men's and women's basketball and soccer teams on international and national tournament trips and has served as official scorer and timekeeper for the QU men's soccer home games for over 20 years. Paul volunteers his time and service across many departments and organizations at the university still, as well as numerous organizations in Quincy. For 60 years, Paul has tirelessly shared his time, talent, and treasure with Quincy University, local organizations, and the less fortunate. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Brown.
Oh, okay. This is the mayor putting this on. I feel honored. Thank you. Oh, okay. Well, Edsel, what can I say? Gosh. I may as well just sit down. I won't, but anyway, thank you very much. I know a lot of that history, and as a fellow alum, I'm very proud of you guys and what you did. I'd like to take a few minutes here, talk about, primarily I want to say a lot of thank yous to a lot of people who were involved in me being up here. Obviously, you got to start with my parents, who always put my little sister and me first. And during the summer of between my junior and senior year of high school, we were looking around for places where I might go to college. And my dad, during my dad's vacation, we visited several schools. And on the way home, the last weekend, we visited relatives in Quincy here. And they said, well, have you ever heard of Quincy College? And I said, no, never heard of the place. So my dad and I came over here the next morning, Saturday morning, and it was during the middle of summer, of course, and we didn't expect to see anybody, but we found somebody, Father Dudson Velez. And he set up an appointment with Frank Nagy, who many of you may know, was head of the business department at the time because I was looking to get an accounting degree. Anyway, he came in that afternoon, we talked, and I ended up coming to Quincy College. And my life changed that summer in 1960, and I've been involved with QU ever since for the last 65 years. I think as the Judge mentioned, I was a student, faculty member, and administrator during what I consider the golden age of Quincy College. And after I went on to other jobs in my career, decided to stay involved as both as an alum and as a volunteer. And while I was here, the Franciscans, as well as the lay faculty and staff, exuded the Franciscan spirit of service and humility, and we also maintained the friendliest college in America, which I also believe was very true at that time. We received a great education. We had some great faculty members. I didn't have him as a professor, but Father Joe Zimmerman was here during that time and did a great job. I also, when I was a student here, I lived in a mansion. We Stillwell Hall, which is now the Quincy Museum, was a dorm, and I got to live in there 2 years. So, whenever I always remind people that where I used to live is now a museum. I'm getting through here. And one of the things, Pat, that Josh read about was when I asked Jack McKenzie if I could work out with the soccer team. I was in my early 30s, so all the real players were all 10 years younger. But I went through everything. I did all the practices, all the routines, the whole bit, to try to find out what it was like. And of course, the first week it about killed me. I could barely get out of bed in the morning. But the guys worked with me, and it was a great time, a great experience. Of course, I have to thank Jack for allowing me to do that. He was in the middle of winning national championships, and I didn't want to come in there and screw that up. Also want to thank Father Titus, who let me off he was the president, and I was working in the president's office at the time. He let me off every afternoon at 3 o'clock to go to practice, so I appreciated that. And then I did it for 4 years, and the last 2 years was Father Gabriel Brinkman was the president. He let me do that also. And at the end of the season, they always have a banquet, and of course the coaches talk and they give out all the awards to all the players. And at the very end of the program, Jack McKenzie got up and he said, I want to tell you about one of these guys. He's the worst player I ever saw in my life. And I thought to myself, Jack, what are you talking about? These are your players. Why are you criticizing them? I just said that to myself. I didn't say it to him. And then as he started talking, I realized he was talking about me. And he said he did improve, though. So I got a little trophy that I still have on display in my office at home. Most improved, QC 1975, Paul Brown. So I exceeded, as Phil talked about, I tried to exceed my level of ability. So I was also very slow, so that didn't help either. Which reminds me of, this is off the point, but I think it's important. My dad, when he was in high school, he was a good athlete. He was captain of his track team and set school records and so forth. So I'm sure he was frustrated when he saw how slow I was. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention was, excuse me. One of the things that happened in 1978, my last year that I worked practice with the team, we had a varsity game out of town on a weekday, and we also had a JV game at home at the same time. And so Jack and the coaches all went, of course, with the varsity. But I guess there's a rule that you have to have a college representative for any games that you play. So Jack, I was appointed the soccer coach for the JV team for one game. And of course, we lost. I have blocked it out of my mind. I don't know what the score was. I don't know who we played. I don't know the date. I don't know anything. All I know is we lost. So I have the distinction of being the only men's soccer coach in the history of Quincy University with a losing record. And I'm sure that's not why they let me in the Hall of Fame. So, let's see here. Oh, yeah, I have to say something about the Mart Heine Club. I mean, they've been providing valuable service and funding to the university ever since they were founded in 1947 as the quarterback club. And then, of course, when the university dropped football, they changed their name to the Mart Heine Club. And there's a photo of Mart right down there. He was, of course, legendary coach, athletic director, alumni director. He had about every job at the university at one time or the other. Anyway, I've gotten to know a lot of wonderful guys and gals over the years with the Mart Heine Club. They've done, as I mentioned, a tremendous job. And, sorry, again. There's some, wanted to mention some of the things about that they have done. This building that we're in now was paid for by the Mart Heine Club. It was originally called the Mart Heine Gym Annex, and there's a plaque, I think it's behind the black curtain there, acknowledging that. And of course, they've also paid a lot of money for and funded different programs over the years for the athletic department. I was honored to be president of the Mart Heine Club in 1986-87, and a couple things happened then. First of all, I'd like to ask Steve Kester in the back was a member of the board. Steve's asleep. Wake up, Steve. Stop talking to your wife. Stand up, Steve Kester. Steve was a member of the board back in those days. A couple of significant things during that year. Adjusted for inflation, we raised over $100,000 for the university, and we also voted to go co-ed. Up until that time, of course, it had been an all-men's club, and we voted to not only admit female members, but also support female athletes. And one of is Sue still here? Yeah, she's still there. The first female president of the Mart Heine Club was Sue Winke. Sue, you want to say that? Okay, let's see what else here. Well, one last thing I would like to mention, Linda Moore and Jim Mentesti, two of my friends. The Jack McKenzie Field out at Legend Stadium needed new turf in 2013, and they corralled me into joining together to help raise money to get new turf on the field. And so if you go out to the stadium, you'll see our names on the front of the press box. That's why it's there. Thank you, Linda, for staying up. Okay, anyway. Who else can I embarrass? I'm about ready to close, I'm sorry. I'm still going to be less than time than Bedsall, of course. It's not going to be as good, but it's going to be shorter. There are some other Hall of Fame members in the back who are in there because of meritorious service, who are members of the Mart Heine Club. And it's an honor for me to be joining that group. And I'd ask for you guys to stand up. Lanny Bunfill, Gerald, excuse me again. Gerald Mast, and Harold Mast. And I just realized I missed the second female president of the Mort Heine Club. Michaela, would you like to stand up? Michaela Frey Tappy. Okay. Anyway, in closing, I'd just like to mention some of the people who were involved in nominating me, particularly the Hall of Fame members. And first of all, I think some of you know that of the 11 national championships that the men's soccer team won, they won 5 in a row between 1977 and 1981. And 9 of the players, or the guys who were players on at least one of those teams, got together and submitted a nomination for me to the Hall of Fame. And some of them played on 1 winner, some of them played on 4. I'd like to mention their names. I don't think any of them are here today. Mike Gallo, Pat Howley, Steve Lux, John Gallo, Jack Horace, Klaus Sandstrom, Tor Dornier, Jim Learned, and Mike Mitchell. I think Mike was the instigator of that, so I really appreciate that. A couple other Hall of Famers that nominated me were Dewey Calmer, who I think a lot of you know. Dewey was a great athlete, great coach in baseball, went on to Bradley. I think he won over 800 games up there. Anyway, I'm sorry, I keep coughing here. He was in the original charter class of the members who went into the Hall of Fame in 1974 when we had the first induction. And then also the last person I wanted to mention is Charlene Peter, who of course took women's athletics to a new level from basically an intramural program to all the way to a national championship with a second place finish in the national tournament in 1984 and a national championship in 1985. So I want to thank them. I also want to thank other people who unofficially talked to members of the committee, encouraging them to get me into the Hall of Fame. I really appreciate that. I don't know who you all are, but thank you very much. Last thing I want to do is say that I'm honored to be the first member of the Hall of Fame from the class of 1965. And I'd like to thank my wife, Denise, for allowing me to do this. She allowed me to escape from doing all my chores at home, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Paul. Al Nepler. Al Nepler graduated from Quincy College in 1971 with a physical education degree and was on the tennis team for 4 years. He served as a soccer coach for over 2 decades and was inducted to the IHSA Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2000 and the Quincy Notre Dame High School Hall of Fame in 1993. Al's overall coaching record was 312, 129, and 44. Al became the first coach in Illinois history to win 100 games or more at more than one school. In 21 years of coaching, he took 6 teams to the state tournament. He was the recipient of the Illinois High School Soccer Coaches Association Coach of the Year Award in 1985. Al has been very active, not only coaching soccer, but also serving on several committees involving soccer. He served on the IHSA Soccer Advisory Committee, was coordinator for Region 7 IHSSCA, and served on the National Federation Soccer Rules Committee. Besides his involvement in soccer, Al has been involved in the community. He served on the Quincy Mayor's Advisory Committee and the Education Advisory Committee for Quincy University. He was recognized as an Outstanding Young Man of America in 1980, received the Physical Education Alumni Award from Quincy University in 1981, and received the Distinguished Alumnus Award from Quincy University in 1971. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Nepler.
I got to be honest, I'm never lost for words, but I didn't know what to expect today, and I didn't write anything down. I didn't know I was speaking. I thought I'd shake hands and we'd go to the football game. But anyway, and just to correct one thing, I didn't get the Distinguished Service Award in '71. That's when I graduated, but that was 3 years ago in 2022. Not a big deal, but I looked at that and I told my wife, I said, they must have knew I was going to get that. So anyway, it's quite an honor. When I got the call from Paul saying, going into the Hall of Fame, I said, the QU Hall of Fame? He said, yeah. I said, well, I'm not sure. Are you hurting for candidates, or what's the deal here? So, but I had a great career here. I had to go, I had some struggles in high school. I thought I was an athlete and I didn't have to open the books. And my basketball coach, when I became ineligible after the grading period, and he took me aside and made me come before school. He helped me study. And I made honor roll. That was sophomore year. Made honor roll after that, and I kid people, but I said I graduated 92nd out of my class. That's not too bad, but we only had 94 boys. So it took me a while to get over that sophomore thing, but I had a coach that cared, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. Well, I really didn't decide to go to college right away. But after that, I knew if I went to college, I wanted to be a phys ed teacher and a coach. So, needless to say, I had a chance. I talked to Quincy College about, can I get into school? And they said, well, you'll have to go to summer school, take 2 classes, and you have to get C's in them, and we'll let you enroll. So I got a C and a B in the 2 classes, and I guess you could say the rest is history. But talking about, a lot of people have talked today about that, but Roger Francoeur, Frank Longo, and Jack McKenzie helped me get my career started, because I'd never played soccer. We didn't have it when I was in school. But my first coaching job or teaching, the only offer I got when I graduated in '71 was the Franciscan Minor Seminary up in Oak Brook. And so they were looking for a head basketball coach and a soccer coach. I said, here he is. And I went up. All 3 of those coaches gave me different books, and I think they probably got tired of hearing my voice on the phone, but I had some success there. I moved back to Quincy, and I got out of teaching for a year, and I didn't know if I'd get back in, but the opportunity happened when Phil was at Quincy Notre Dame, and I got there and was blessed with a lot of talent and great support, and I wouldn't be here today if that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't be here today. A lot of you maybe know Ann Bergman. When she was teaching here, the hardest class I ever had in my life was kinesiology. You know, you're supposed to know where this inserts and that, and so there was 3 other guys with me, but she would let us come into her office, and she would get all that, she would help us through it, and that was probably the hardest C I got in my life. But I I made it, and I went on to get my master's administrative degree, and so I wouldn't have had that success without my coach Denny Reinberg in high school, and Roger Frankor was my mentor. That he kept me focused and helped me tremendously. Also Frank and Jack, they both had kids play for me at Notre Dame, and but Roger was special and a true friend. So I like I said, I didn't prepare anything, so I'm gonna be brief. I know that won't bother you, but all these awards, where I look back, I felt like I was a very successful teacher and coach because my mom used to say, because we got our class rings in junior year, she said, I don't think we ought to put a year on that. I'm not sure when you're going to make that, but my folks were very supportive, and I couldn't be happier. But the first thing I told my classes the first day, because I was telling my wife at Glenbrook, I would finish my teaching and coaching in the last 22 years up at Glenbrook North High School in Northbrook, and we had a couple teachers in the phys ed. We had like 19 phys ed teachers, and 2 of them would refuse certain students, or they'd tell the boss, I don't want to deal with them. So guess who got them? I did. But the first thing I told my classes was, whatever happened or whatever baggage you're bringing in, I don't care about that. I said, I find good in everybody I meet. Sometimes I got to look a little further, but we get there. And I think that's why I was so successful. And as a coach, not ever playing the game, I surrounded myself with good assistants, and I think I learned a little bit over 37 years. But it's, for whatever reason, the kids would put their head through the wall for me. And I think that's 75% of being a successful coach, parent, administrator, whatever, is that they believe in you and you support them, and that's kind of been the name of my career. I never thought I'd ever end up where I'm at today, but it was because of caring coaches and teachers. So I'm very happy. I waited till I was 64 to try that marriage thing, and my wife, Coletta, over there, we've been married 12 years, so I learned to say yes, dear, a lot, quickly. So, but anyway, I want to thank the committee. Like I said, it's a great honor. This school was very special to me, and it still is, and I hope we're around for many years to come. Thank you for this honor. Thank you.
Becky Fleming. Becky Fleming was a dominant force on the soccer field. She led the Lady Hawks in scoring each of her 4 seasons, accumulating 52 goals and 30 assists for 131 total points, which places her second in career points, second in career goals, and first in career assists in program history. She was a 3-time NSCAA All-American, 3-time Daktronics All-American, 4-time NSCAA and Daktronics All-Region selection, and 4-time first-team All-GLVC selection. Becky was named GLVC Offensive Player of the Year 2 times and was 2006 GLVC Freshman of the Year. Becky finished her career by winning the Mart Heine Career Achievement Award, shocker, in recognition of her outstanding body of work in a Lady Hawk uniform. She also excelled in the classroom, earning GLVC Academic All-Conference recognition 4 times. NSCAA Scholar All-American, and was a 2-time ESPN The Magazine Academic All-American. Ladies and gentlemen, Becky Fleming.
Good morning. I want to thank everyone who has made this ceremony possible and everyone who is here able to attend. Getting inducted into the Quincy Hall of Fame is truly such an honor. I have so much pride in being a former Quincy Hawk. Quincy has allowed me to play the sport I love the most and get a college education while doing so. It paved the way for my future, allowing me to have a career, preparing me for my biggest accomplishment, which is my family. I am so thankful for Quincy and that I get to experience this award with my parents, Ed and Kathy, my husband, Andrew, and my 3 daughters, Grace, Rose, and Mary. My soccer journey started when I was young. Growing up, I was fortunate to play on one of the best club teams in Missouri. Almost every girl on my team decided they wanted to play Division I soccer, so naturally that was my ultimate goal and everything I was working towards. It wasn't until my parents made me go visit a small school in Quincy, Illinois, that my perspective on college soccer completely changed. I watched them play one time and I instantly felt a need and purpose for the team, nothing I had felt at any other school. After my visit, I knew this is where I needed to be, and it just so happened that 2 of my close friends were also getting recruited by Quincy, and we all committed together. Little did I know, God's plan for us coming here was much higher than anything I could have ever imagined. I was somewhat of an underdog and underrated in the St. Louis soccer scene. The only people that knew my full potential were me, my parents, and a man named Dave Musso. Dave was my coach during my time here at Quincy. He was one of the most positive and energetic people I've ever met. I had no idea his outlook on life and energy would be just what I needed to get through an ACL injury, become a 4-time All-American, and one of the best players at Quincy and the GLVC. Dave saw greatness and pushed me to be better every practice and every game, and for that I have so much to thank him for. With that being said, I need to thank my teammates, my fellow Quincy Hawks. We gave everything we had on the field and created a legacy of greatness for all the future Hawks. Our friendship and companionship were some of the driving forces that led to a winning and highly competitive team. I will never forget the blood-fought battles against Northern Kentucky and playing in the NCAA tournament against the defending national champions, Grand Valley State. The memories we created will last a lifetime. And lastly, I need to thank my parents for everything they did in supporting me throughout my soccer career. The time, the travel, and money spent were selfless acts that were never unseen. I also need to give a big shout out to my siblings for getting dragged to all my games. The atmosphere would have never been the same if you all weren't there cheering me on, being my biggest supporters and #1 fans. For that, I am forever grateful, and I love you all so much.
Ian Hincamper. Ian was a 4-year standout for the QU Hawks tennis program, making a long-lasting impact on the tennis program, earning accolades that cement his legacy as one of the program's most accomplished players, playing the #1 spot in our rotation for all 4 years at Quincy University. Competing in one of the top NCAA Division II conferences in the country, the GLVC, Ian established himself as a dominant force in collegiate tennis. His career singles record of 75-38 and doubles record of 70-29 reflect his consistent ability to compete and succeed at the highest level. His senior season, Ian posted a 19-5 singles record and was the team's #1 singles player. Ian embodied the true spirit of student athlete. In addition to his athletic accomplishments, Ian's academic achievements were equally impressive. He was an all-conference selection as a player and earned academic all-conference awards all 4 years he was at Quincy University. He was recognized as a Conference Player of the Week twice during his collegiate career. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Hincamper.
Hello, everyone. I'll keep this very brief. I want to first thank Josh and the Hall of Fame committee for the great honor. But most importantly, I want to thank my coaches throughout my career, my mom, Monica Hincamper, and my college coach, Bill Latour, who are both present. QU was a place of tremendous growth for me. Learning to manage sports in school was not easy for me at first. Like most of the inductees here today, I assume they enjoyed their sport-related activities more than anything else, but that balance molded who I am today. I had a great support system growing up from my parents, Rick and Monica, and now I have a great family of my own here supporting me today who are very proud of me. So I'm not a man of many words. Thank you very much for the honor.
Ricardo Patterson. Ricardo was a defensive back for the Quincy University Hawks football team when he was on the field of play. Patterson recorded 19 career interceptions, the most in Quincy University football history. In 2003, he had 7 interceptions in a single season, which is tied for the most in program history for a single season. In 2006, he grabbed 3 interceptions in a game versus Olivet Nazarene, which tied for the most in a single season or a single game in Quincy University history. Ricardo Patterson was also a 3-time All-American for our football program. Ladies and gentlemen, Ricardo Patterson.
All right. Good morning, everyone. First of all, just want to say thank you for Quincy University having me back, the Hall of Fame committee, obviously for voting me in, and also all the inductees, and then also the new inductees going, and also to my 2 fellow brothers, Jeremy Saunders and Jacob Zupon, who I played with. So they're here today also get inducted. So this congratulations. Also, as far as my family, friends and family, I want to thank my beautiful wife. She was able to travel here with me from Charlotte, North Carolina, so it's good to be back and back here for the first time in 17 years. So it's been a while since I've been back, so first time though. For some of my shout out to my daughter, she wasn't able to be here, but she's a sports athlete, so excited about her. She's 13 years old now, so she's in 3 different sports. Also, Coach T, not sure where he's at right now, but thank you for putting up with me for those 4 years, keeping me around and driving me. So yeah, being that good figure for me to keep me straight here while I was here. Very thankless shout out to my aunt. She's not here, but she was my legal guardian after my mom passed, but she always supported me, was my backbone, and always drive me to be here today. Also, shout out to Matt Kelpel. He's the reason why I'm here at Quincy University. Long story short, high school coach, position coach, and he went to Quincy University also as well. So pretty much I had about 4 different offers from down south schools, and he was like, hey, why don't you check out this school, Quincy, that I went to? And I was like, Quincy, where is it at? Illinois. So I'm like, okay. Never been there before, but decided to take a chance. He was like, got in touch with Coach T, got me up here for a visit. Obviously, it was my first time flying. Flew here by myself and pretty much got here. I remember it was very cold, very cold. So yeah, now it's like got off the plane. I remember it was snowing the second day I was here, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this stuff. But obviously, I had some great friends, great recruiters down there, took me around the campus, Matt Worley, a couple other guys on the defensive side as well. So, and it was great spirit. Never forget, I went back home and I talked to my aunt, and I was like, you know what, I think I want to go to Quincy University. I think that's where I want to go at. And she was a shocker, like, why so far? But I told her that's where I want to go. And that's how I became, obviously became a Hawk. And so yeah, as far as me getting started in sports, never forget, 3rd grade was my first year. I wanted to play sports, and my mom asked my mom, said, hey, want to go play football. She's like, hey, you might be too small, so I want you to try soccer. So played soccer for about 3 games. Obviously outran everybody, was scoring out, so I went back and told her, hey, I'm faster than everybody, so they won't catch me in football. So that's how I got started in football. So that's where it all started from, and then pretty much from there, I never forget, about to graduate, and I was like telling my aunt, like, hey, how am I gonna get to Quincy? The only thing I can take is my clothes on the airplane. I still need my fridge and microwave. Long story short, she got in touch with Matt Kelper, and him and his father did a very wonderful thing. They drove all the way down from Peoria, Illinois to pick me up, put all my refrigerator, microwave, clothing, brought me to school my first day. And we drove, I'll never forget, we drove all the way back, came back and drove back the same day. So thank you guys for doing that. So that's a big thank you there. And then far as once I got here, football career, I'll never forget, I wasn't starting. So first 3 games, this is my first time ever not starting football. So I was kind of, and the next thing you know, one of my teammates got hurt during the middle of the game, maybe the second quarter. I think it was Billy, went down to injury, and the coach was like, hey, and they called me Roscoe. My name's Ricardo. So like, hey, Roscoe, your turn up, so let's get in. I never got on the field, and I was like, oh man, these guys are all bigger than me, so it's gonna be a little different. But got in and did good, and then the next game I got a chance to start, and I'll never forget the guy that I played against. He was like 6'5". They constantly kept going after me, throwing the ball at me. I played defensive back, but they constantly kept throwing my way against this guy, and it was like the whole game, and I just kept batting the balls down. And therefore, I had a chance to become great career here, become a Hawk, and spent my next 4 years. Made a lot of great friends, a lot of good friends I remain in contact with today. I'm glad that all of them can be here today. Very special place to be at. As always, just want to leave with this. It's a great day to be Hawk, and thank you guys for having me here today. Thank you.
Jeremy Saunders. Let me talk. Jeremy was a powerful offensive lineman, widely regarded as one of the best offensive linemen in Quincy University football history. His presence on the offensive line powered an elite Quincy University rushing attack. The football Hawks averaged over 190 yards per game in both 2007 and 2008. This total was enough to earn the second most rushing yards per game in the Mid-States Football League. The Hawks' offense was equally as potent on the passing side of the ball, as he anchored a line that averaged the second most passing yards in a game during the 2007 and 2008 seasons. He earned All-American recognition in 2007 by the American Football Coaches Association. His presence helped propel the Hawks to 3 consecutive winning seasons, which had never been done before. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Saunders.
Thank you. All right. Whew. First, I want to thank the committee for nominating me. It's an absolute honor to be in this group. It's an absolute honor to get inducted with Ricardo and Jake, 2 of the best defensive guys I had the pleasure of playing with. It's hard to put into words how you feel when you get that call, right? You know, especially as an offensive lineman, we don't get stats, we don't get things. We get running backs that get stats or quarterbacks that get stats. So, but I was a basketball player in high school, and I loved being recognized. So I don't want to lie to you guys. So it does mean a lot. I want to thank a lot of people. I want to thank my teammates, especially my teammates that are here today. We had guys travel from Florida, Tennessee, St. Louis, Chicago. I mean, Dusty's here. Like, it means so much, guys. It really does. There's so many guys I haven't seen in 15 years, and I realized that if it wasn't for the Hall of Fame, a lot of us, might not have seen each other again. So I really want to thank the committee for making this happen today. I want to thank my parents. I think my parents had just as much fun at Quincy as I did. We tailgated every game. You know, we had motorhomes and they cooked out and we had parties after everywhere. I think my dad's joke was he was a sixth-year senior, which oddly enough I became. We'll get more to that later. But I want to thank my mom. Our road to Quincy it wasn't a normal road. I was lucky enough to be very heavily recruited my junior and senior year, and we traveled all around the United States, met with so many programs, so many coaches, made a commitment, had some academic issues, went back on the road, and we met Coach T. And those of you that know Coach T, you remember him, let's just say that. And it was the last stop we made. And in Coach T fashion, he gave me an offer, and he said, "You got 1 week to let me know." And we get in that car, and I look at Mom, and I think I want to go here. And she goes, I think you should. And we just got back from McKendree, and the coach at McKendree was not like the Coach T. I mean, it was two very different gentlemen. But it worked out. We signed, and we ended up here. If you'd have told freshman year me or freshman year that knew me, Coach T, that I'd be standing here today, we both would have called you crazy. Little background, I went to high school, Warren High School in Northwest Illinois, and my junior and senior year, we were arguably the worst football team in the state. We were in the smallest division. We won one game, the first game my junior year, and I didn't win again the rest of my career. We scored 4 touchdowns my senior year. Like, we were bad. We weren't learning technique. We weren't learning X's and O's. We were just surviving. I think there was only 14 of us on the team. So my transition into college was anything but easy. That first week on campus, I was amazed at all the small town, like 30 minutes from a McDonald's, small town. All this fast food, I was in heaven. Chi-Town, the first time I met Chi-Town, me and Chi-Town couldn't be from more opposite ends of the world. Chicago, podunk nothing, but he goes, "You want to go to McDonald's?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." And we did that a lot. It was one of my great memories. But in a practice, one of the first practices we're going, and I do what I think I'm supposed to do, and I knew I wasn't going to start. We had 5 linemen that were 3-year returners, and I knew I wasn't going to start, so I kind of thought I could slide under the radar and try to learn all these new plays, and I was lost. But we go on play, and Coach T yelled what was my name for the first 2 years, and that was blank Saunders, or, "You got the 3-tech there." I said, all right, Coach. I had no idea what a 3-tech was. I'll just do the opposite this next time, right? "F. Saunders, you got the 3-tech." And sometimes I fight fire with fire. And I looked at him, I "Coach, I don't know what a 3-tech is. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about." "That podunk hillbilly school didn't teach you nothing." I'm like, no, they didn't, Coach. I'm sorry. Well, about 3 practices later, the unthinkable happened. I got my knee rolled up on. I tore my MCL, tore my meniscus. And once again, I realized I wasn't in high school because, I was screaming like a baby because I thought, I didn't know what I thought. But Coach T's first words out of his mouth were, and some of you have all heard this, "Move the drill." Not "How are you?" We got to keep practicing, so move the drill. But I was told, I did good rehab. I was told I'd be back for spring ball. And with the help of 99-cent double cheeseburgers, $5 Papa John pizzas, a little bit of weight room, I put on about 50 pounds, and I was feeling confident going into spring ball. I had a chance to start. I was feeling good, and the first live action back, somebody pissed off Coach T, surprise, probably me, but he decided to put linebackers, essentially gave him about a 10-yard head start to tee off on us, essentially. We're practicing inside zone. And Coach T lined Carlos Ned up to me, and some of you guys remember Carlos Ned. He was only good at one thing and one thing only. That was knocking you on your butt. Sorry, Carlos, if you hear this or see this. And that's just what Carlos Ned did to me. He put me on my butt. I'd never been hit so hard in my life. I lay in the ground laughing like, oh my God. And Coach T, he did know how to motivate me, and he motivated me by saying, Saunders, you're going to be third string your whole career here. I said, or, effing Saunders. But, and actually, as we left for spring ball, in his office, he had the depth chart up, and it was first string, second string, third string, and then a little bit on fourth string was only me, left tackle, fourth string, going in. But he knew what he was doing. He was motivating me. He knew I hated, I loved to compete. I loved to play. And everything we did, football, intramural basketball. I kind of joked that this might be for intramural basketball for 5 championship. How many? 4? Yeah. Wrap it up. All right. But anyways, I was able to start the next 4 years. I was captain for 3 years, all conference for 4, capped off with the All-American my senior year. Absolute honor to be part of it. I kind of said I was the real life Tommy boy. I really was. I didn't want to graduate. I had so much fun here. And I ran out of money. My parents were like, we're not going to get, we had a good scholarship, but I was done playing. Coach T was kind enough to make me a student assistant. I don't know if it was a made-up position or what it was, but I got to work under my best friend, Matt Booker, who was the defensive back coach. I was helping coach DBs. I didn't do anything. I was like the scout team quarterback during drills, which is all I wanted to do anyways, throw the ball, right? You're a lineman, you don't get to do nothing. But after that year, I was able to go back home, and I became an assistant coach for that Podunk Hillbilly School, Warren High School. And I'm proud to say that in 2019, we won our first ever state championship. Yeah, right? Little footnote, we just co-opted with another school, and it was in the state of Wisconsin. But we won that state championship. I got a ring and everything. In Camp Randall. We played in Illinois. We joined a team in Wisconsin, and we actually played in Wisconsin. It was one of the first teams ever in Illinois to win a state championship in Wisconsin. So with that, I want to thank everybody coming here again today. I want to thank my teammates, everybody that's here, but I especially want to thank my classmates that are here. We were talking about this last night. Our freshman year, there was 52 of us that came in our freshman year. There was 10 of us that made it through. 5 of them are here today. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, beautiful. So thank you very much. It's a great day to be a Hawk. La Gondola's on me. All right, thank you all. Peace and love.
Jake Zupan. Jake Zupan was the heart and soul of the QU defense during his 4-year playing career. He left QU as the program's all-time leading tackler with 348 career stops. He currently sits second all-time while being the career leader in all-time assisted tackles with 181. In the 2006 and 2007 seasons, he finished 4th and 6th, respectively, in tackles per game in the Mid-States Football League. During his 4 years at Quincy, Zupan enjoyed 3 winning seasons, leading the Hawks defense on and off the field. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Zupan.
Thank you. It's a true honor to stand here today back at Quincy University. It's a place that's showed such a major role in shaping who I am both on and off the field. To be inducted in the Hall of Fame is something I never imagined when I first showed up here as a youngster. I vividly remember walking through this very room the first time I visited campus. I didn't know then how much this place would come to mean to me, how it would change the course of my life. And now, standing here again, full circle, it's not hard to feel overwhelmed with gratitude. First, I want to thank Quincy University and the selection committee. This is incredible recognition, and I'm deeply grateful to be standing here among so many who have left their mark on this university. I've had the privilege of playing alongside two teammates who are also honored today, Jeremy Saunders and Ricardo Patterson. Big Bake, we always had a deep respect for one another, and we had some great battles on the practice field. You were ferocious on the gridiron, the kind of guy you always wanted on your team, then lined up against. Roscoe, I still remember looking up and seeing your rear end in the air, higher than the receiver's head, during one of your many, many insane interceptions. Just a ridiculous athlete and game changer on the football field. I want to recognize a few of my defensive coaches who had a huge impact on my football career here, Gary McGraw and Paul Fuller. I gained a deep understanding of the game through you and its knowledge, and I now carry with me as a coach to my boys. Thank you. And of course, Coach T. Thank you for bringing me here and giving me the opportunity to play football for you. You are the definition of a player's coach. Your style, energy, personality, complete opposite of my high school coach. And honestly, it's exactly what I needed. I'm still convinced you were a stand-up comedian in another life. I can't count how many one-liners you had that left us all crying with laughter during practice. Usually not the old lineman, it's everyone else watching. I mean, you called me Zeus Pan for 2 years. At some point, I just gave up trying to correct you. But behind the humor was leadership, heart, and vision. I can't thank you enough for recommending me for this honor, for the opportunity to play for you, and for the relationships I've made because of this university. Thank you to all the friends and family who came here to celebrate this incredible honor, to the whole crew of teammates who've traveled from all over the country, as Bake said, from Florida, Tennessee, KC, St. Louis, and Chicago, wherever else, thank you. So many of you to name, but I can't put into words how much it means to me to have you guys here. Some of you I haven't seen in over 16 years, and yet here you are showing up for me. That's love, loyalty, and I'll never forget it. You guys were and still are my brothers. We weren't just a football team, we were a family here. We pushed each other, we fought through pain, we picked each other up, and we held each other accountable. Those bonds are real, and they're lifelong. We went through it all, those daily 6:30 a.m. meetings, the two-a-days in that blazing August heat, the come-to-Jesus runs at the crack of dawn, and of course, the terrible buffets on the road. Both sides of my family are in the restaurant business, so food's a serious thing for us. As you can imagine, it was pretty difficult. Fuel my body on soft serve ice cream at these buffets. But through it all, the highs, the lows, the grind, we stuck together. The memories we made, they've stayed with me longer than any playbook ever did. That's the real legacy. The people, the moments, and the bond we'll always share. I want to thank my parents, my mom, Vicki, who's here today, and my late father, Tibor, who passed away shortly after my college career. Mom, I cannot express the gratitude and appreciation I have for the unwavering love, support, and sacrifice that you and Dad gave me. You guys were always there, steady, strong, and believe me, every step of the way. Every mile driven, game watched, every tough lesson, you gave everything you had and then some. And Dad, I carry him with me every day. I wish more than anything he could be here this morning, but I know he's proud, I know he's watching, and I know he's part of this moment just as much as I am. I literally wouldn't be standing here without him. My senior year of high school, I suffered 2 major injuries that both required surgery and long recoveries. I considered quitting football altogether, but he ultimately convinced me to give it one more shot, and I'm so glad I did. Finally, my family. Boys, maybe now you guys believe me that Dad used to be a somebody. I told you this room was special. During one of our first activities of freshman orientation, right after preseason football camp. It was in this room where I first locked eyes with your mom. Danny was a volleyball player at QU, and from that moment on, everything changed. She's my best friend and has been by my side for 20 years. She's the heart of our family and the most incredible person I know. And I have Quincy University to thank for bringing us together and blessing me with all of my boys. I have 4 boys, Vinny, TJ, Nick, and Frankie. And to each of you, I want you to know how much it means to me having you here today. Watching you grow into the young men you're becoming is the greatest honor of my life. I've had the pride and joy of coaching you in everything, football, hockey, baseball. And trust me, being a coach or parent on the sidelines is much more stressful than being a player. My soon-to-be 16-year-old, God help me, is already taller than I am, which isn't saying much, and he's getting ready for a playoff run. He plays middle linebacker like his old man. His team's currently ranked 2nd in the state of Indiana, and now I fully understand the nerves my parents used to feel in the stands. Boys, I know Dad can be hard on you sometimes, but you know it all comes from love and belief in you and who you are and what you're capable of. My hope is that when you see me stand here today, you see more than just a football player or a Hall of Famer. I hope you see what's possible when you work hard, stay humble, and show up for the people you love. Life will challenge you just like the game does. You'll win some, you'll lose some, and some days you'll barely feel like getting out of bed. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that character always outlasts talent. Show up with heart, take care of your people, and never be afraid to chase something bigger than yourself. When I think back on my time at Quincy, it's not the tackles or the final scores that stand out, it's the relationships. The friendships formed in the locker room, the brotherhood built on the field, the mentors who believed in me, those are what truly lasted. I remember the grind, I remember the early mornings, the setbacks, the moments that tested me, and I remember who I became because of it all. Football here wasn't just about the performance, it was about purpose. It gave me direction, discipline, and a sense of belonging that I still carry with me to this day. So thanks to Quincy University, thank you for the opportunity. To my teammate and coaches, thank you for the journey. To everyone who showed up here today, thank you for reminding me how special this community is. It's been said that legacy isn't what you leave for people, it's what you leave in them. I hope I left a little bit in this program, just as much as left in me. Thank you.
Lynn Schlepphorst. Lynn left an unbelievable mark on the women's golf program here at Quincy University. She was a 4-year member and earned all GLVC honors 3 times. She was an NCAA East Regional participant in her final QU season. She is our only ever NCAA participant in men's and women's golf in QU history. Lynn had her best finish in the GLVC championships in 2000, where she tied for 2nd with a score of 163. This, of course, is the highest a QU golfer, male or female, has ever placed. She is one of only 3 women to be named all GLVC in the history of the program, and she did that 3 times. In addition to Lynn's accomplishments at Quincy University, she has also won this Quincy Women's City Tournament 6 total times. Ladies and gentlemen, Lynn Schlepphorst.
I want to start by thanking Quincy University for the tremendous privilege of inducting me into their Hall of Fame. As a kid, I played other sports, soccer, swimming, softball, but nothing really seemed to fit. My mom grew up in a golfing family and is a great player of the game as well. She took me with my dad to play golf for the first time when I was 10. I loved it from the first tee on. I had found my passion. I remember getting dropped off most days after school to play a quick 9 before dinner and homework. Golf gave me a sense of purpose, a work ethic, and a love for the outdoors that are a part of who I am today. High school tournament golf gave me the opportunity to refine my skills and channel them into the beginning of what was to be a very rewarding career. In high school, I began working with my swing coach, Mark Christensen. His swing instruction made me a better player, and his coaching made me a competitor. As I finished my senior golfing season at Quincy Notre Dame, Quincy University announced that they were starting a women's golf program and that Mark Christensen was going to be the head coach. While playing for Mark and his assistant Troy Conover, I was able to become a GLVC conference player and a successful collegiate athlete. In closing, I would like to first thank my parents, Jim and Kathy Schlepphorst, for their support and sacrifice allowed me to chase my dreams. I would like to thank my high school coach, Jane O'Connell, for all the time she sacrificed to make me a successful high school player. I'd like to thank my Quincy University college teammates for their support and encouragement. I'd like to thank Mark Christensen and Troy Conover for the patience and sacrifice they gave to make the Quincy University women's golf team a successful program. Finally, I'd like to thank Quincy University again for this tremendous honor. Thank you so much.
Pat Atwell. Former Quincy University baseball coach and athletic director Pat Atwell grew up in Andover, New York, where he was a three-sport standout. He excelled at soccer, basketball, and baseball. His talents on the diamond took him to West Virginia, where he played collegiately at Salem, where he had an outstanding collegiate career, being named MVP and also playing in the prestigious Alaska Summer League. As great as his playing career was, coaching was his true calling. After stints coaching baseball and basketball in New York and West Virginia, Atwell was hired as an assistant soccer and baseball coach at Quincy University. He took over as the head baseball coach at Quincy University in 1992. What Jim Pransky started, he finished, taking the program to unimaginable heights after the program was only 6-40 3 years prior. In 10 seasons leading the Hawks, Atwell led the Hawks to a 288, 203 record, leading Quincy University to our first ever GLVC championship in 2000, and to 2 NCAA Division II tournament appearances. Along the way, he recruited and coached several players who were either drafted or signed by Major League Baseball organizations, including 2 that played in the major leagues. An ultimate competitor on and off the field, Atwell hated losing more than he liked winning. He instilled confidence in his squads, encouraging them to be competitors, and made them realize that failure was not an option. Throughout his years of coaching baseball, Pat Atwell, as great as a baseball coach as he was, found a way to transcend the teaching of the game of baseball into real-life scenarios. His sayings and mannerisms were contagious and have stood the test of time for his generations of Hawks. Words like compete, competitor, be a good person, figure it out, all had meaning and related to life after baseball. And who would have thought 6'4" and one hell of an athlete would last for 25 years for a generation of Hawks? He took his baseball players, taught them life lessons, and in return created better husbands, better fathers, and better people. The wins and championships were great, but the long-lasting effects on his former players are Hall of Fame worthy alone. He's the best baseball coach in Quincy University history. Ladies and gentlemen, our baseball coach, Pat Atwell.
Well, I think all I could do is just say thank you and sit down after Josh just said that, because that was, to have your former player introduce you is very special. I'm not the greatest coach in Quincy baseball history, because on my right stands the guy that went by my record. He could have retired. when we were tied, but went right by. Two things real quick before I start. Jake, when you were introduced, my wife leaned over and said, "Why do I feel like I really know him?" Swear to God. I said, "Well, because when you're at the game, all you hear is tackled by Jake Zupan. Tackled by Jake Zupan." I said, "So you feel like he's your buddy because like 12 to 15 times every game, that's what they say." And Etzel, I now know why the 97 Hawks were so good, because they did what you did, hitting the bottle caps. They were just Bud Light bottle caps. Like I didn't know. So the thank yous are, for me, it's just thank the good Lord that my wife and I, Lisa, were brought to Quincy in 1990. Picked up the phone, called Coach Pransky, said, "Yeah, I do need a job. I need a coach. You need to coach soccer too." I'm like, "Well, I played soccer, so I'd have a clue." And so we came out. But the single event that set up the rest of our lives, our kids were born here, was the good Lord bringing us to Quincy, Illinois, and Quincy University. I'd like to thank, obviously my parents who are no longer with us, but huge for us. My wife, it's not easy being a wife or son or daughter of a coach, athletic director, because you have two families. You have your family, but you have your other family, so there are some times. Now, my wife, there was a moment early on, pre-marriage, when at the time I'm coaching basketball. She knows I like basketball. Well, I'm still playing baseball and softball all the time. She knows I like baseball. I love the Buffalo Bills, there's no doubt, so she knows I love football. And our first date ever was to a hockey game with the Sabres, so she knows I like hockey. So one day, I'm watching, and I can't remember, it's either golf, bowling, or NASCAR on TV. Bowling. And she says, "So, do you like everything?" And I could see the calculator in her head and my plus minus system going like, "I don't know." Like, "Yeah, honey, if they play it, I like it." And so I passed, thank God, because 38 years later, we're still kind of having fun and knocking around. So, love you, honey. Thank you for that. My son Eric is here, who's getting married next Saturday, so looking forward to that as well. My daughter Melissa. My son-in-law Corey there's Corey back in the corner. Corey, thank you. And my granddaughter Maya is right here. So thank you guys for being here. Thanking real quick through Quincy, Jim Pransky was the man that helped bring me here. It was all through him, and he was a great baseball coach. He taught me so much. I was a head coach for 2 years. Then I came here as an assistant. Jim taught me so much baseball in a year. It was tremendous. He started it, and it just as Josh said. Cheryl Hanks was the AD that hired me, so thanks, Coach Hanks. Jack McKenzie, holy cow, what a blessing that was. So I came out to work with Jack McKenzie for 3 years, and when you're on Jack, you just reinforces that you can be a great coach and treat people with respect all the time. And we became great friends, and I'm very grateful for that relationship. And then Jim Nemovich we were co-workers, then he became the AD, a great AD. We're tremendous friends. They couldn't be here, he and Carolyn. Carolyn's dad passed away, so recently they're there. But Jim was a spectacular AD, better friend, so I appreciate Jim. So some quick thank yous. This group is really intriguing because when you're the players, they're always thanking the coach. "Hey, coach, thanks for everything. Coach, thanks for everything." But you know what? Thank you, because you guys all believed. Like, you have to believe in a vision. You have to believe in what we're selling you. You have to be allowed to be coached. And without you made me believe that we could do it. Like, I thought we could do it. I thought we could make a tournament. But you don't know you can do it until you do it. So you guys, all that played for me, thank you for believing in a vision and what it could look like if we all pulled together as one and weren't worried about ourselves, but worried about the group and worried about our teammate and worried about how we play. Thanks for accepting coaching, even if it were a little different than how you were coached before. So that part to me is what's special. Is you never think of it that way. But for me, I'm unbelievably grateful for you and what you did. And then this team, and I think Becky said it, a legacy of greatness that the women's soccer with Coach Musso. Legacy of greatness? Very good. That's you. That's what you started. So thank you. The first game we ever won, first NCAA tournament game, I'll never forget. I'm fortunate on this team I have two of my nephews playing, which is so cool. So two of my nephews, my niece also came to college here. So I got to see my sister and brother-in-law, who were very close all the time. And but the last out of our first ever tournament win is my nephew Owen, and he had a great changeup, throws a changeup, and of course it just dives under the guy's bat. Our all-conference catcher Chad Thomas blocks it like he did 85,000 times, picks it up and tags the guy, and that's our first win ever. And I'm just thinking, like, how cool is that my nephew just saved the game that we won for the first time in Quincy University history. Yeah, I mean, you can't replace that. So that is very cool. I'd like to thank you, Coach Raby, and Coach Sissel, because when you're a Hawk, you are always a Hawk. Even when you're working for some other schools, it's still in your heart. And for you guys to keep it going and improve it and get to the World Series, thank you. Because we're very proud to be Quincy University Hawks, very proud of what was started, and extremely proud of where you took it. So thank you. There is, and I'm wrapping up, which is what you all want to hear, so to wrap up, let's go. There's a song by Jordan Davis and Luke Bryan. In the song, it's called Buy Dirt. You're like, buy dirt. But in the song, it says, do what you love and call it work. And that has been my life, like since 1984. And that's crazy. Like, Edsel, you were talking to, like, yeah, I'm 90. I'm like, but damn, I'm 64. I've been doing this a long time now. Do what you love and call it work. And that's the story of my life. I love being around athletes. I love coaching. I love being an athletic director, helping young coaches be able to do what I was able to do and mentor them and help them. And it's the greatest thing ever. And but let's be crystal clear. What I loved the most, what I felt, and you kind of mentioned it, which I appreciate, is I feel like those 10 years I was a Quincy University coach of the baseball Hawks was the best job in the civilized world. I loved coaching baseball at Quincy University. It was very, very special. And still to this day, I take great pride in somebody calling me coach, because Phil knows that is a term of endearment and respect and the responsibility you have to have when you are a coach. So when one of your guys still says, hey, coach, it's very special. So thank you all. I greatly appreciate you. Thanks, Josh.
The 1997 baseball team. The 1997 baseball team was the first team in the history of Quincy University to qualify for the NCAA baseball tournament. The team shattered the record for wins in a season with 39, topping the previous mark of 33. With wins over perennial powers Lewis, North Alabama, Mercyhurst, SIUE, and Central Missouri, these wins propelled the 1997 baseball Hawks to the NCAA tournament, where only 3 teams at that time qualified for the tournament in this region. Stories of these wins are legendary within the program, as they were the first to not only believe that this program could play in the NCAA tournament, but to actually do it. The 97 team proved to be the team that QU needed to take the program to the next level. This team led the way to the prosperous future of Quincy University baseball, as 25 of the last 28 Quincy University baseball teams have finished above 500, going to 11 NCAA tournaments, advancing to the World Series in 2017, and winning 5 GLVC championships. Individual accomplishments include Derek Harlan, QU's first ever GLVC Player of the Year and Division II First Team All-American. He still holds the single-season triples record with 9. Jason Rockers is the all-time leader in hitting with a .431 career batting average. Owen Johnston held the career saves record for 14 years with 17 saves. Ryan Dowd held the career pitching wins record for 24 years with 27 wins. Jason Rockers, Derek Harlan, Ryan Dowd, Chad Hammonds, and Chad Thomas were all GLVC members. Harlan, Rakers, and Dowd were all Midwest region recipients. Pat Atwell was the GLVC Coach of the Year in 1997. The 97 Hawks still hold the record for stolen bases in a season with 117 and triples in a season with 27. They are fourth all-time in hits with 617 and fourth in doubles with 122. 5 members of the 1997 team have been inducted into the Quincy University Hall of Fame as individuals: Dowd, Rakers, Harlan, Jay Driscoll, and Chad Hammonds. And of course, Coach Atwell. Members of the team, when your name is called, please join us at the front of the room. Jason Rockers. Ryan Dowd. Derek Harlan. Owen Johnston. CJ Cruiser. McAten. Chad Hammonds. Chris Kite. Mike Matheson. Jamie Blazing. Roger Freeze. Matt Curry. Joel Hubbard. Morgan Gans. Jason Zabrozik. Kyle Dingus. Jay Driscoll. Mike King. Chad Thomas. Brian Behrens. Russ Ham. Jeff Johnston. Jeff Curl. Todd Schneller. Greg Hake. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1997 baseball team.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Roger Freeze. I was blessed to be a part of this team back in '97, and I got asked to speak. So myself and Owen Johnston are going to speak a little bit on behalf of our team. One thing I can assure you is that I will pretty much stick to the script, and I can promise you Owen will not. We'll try to make this as quick as possible, as I know we are the last group here today. But first of all, I would like to congratulate all of the inductees this year. What an amazing group. One of the stories that seemed to be a common theme throughout everyone's speech, it had to do with love and relationships and what it means to be a team. And that's what it was all about. And that's why everyone is here today. So thank you and congratulations to all the inductees today. So first of all, just on behalf of the entire team, I want to begin by saying what an incredible honor it is to stand here today as we accept our induction into the Hall of Fame. To be remembered in this way, not just for what we achieved on the field, but for the legacy we built together, is truly special. Thank you to Quincy University, the Hall of Fame Committee, Athletic Director Josh Raby, Coach Atwell, and our entire coaching staff, past Athletic Director Jim Nemovich, all of our families, and our parents, both those that are with us today or watching from above. Now, since I'm speaking, I'm going to give a special shout out to my wife. Thank you, Charity, for everything you've done. Also, my son Connor is here today. Thank you for everything. And also for my son Colton, who is back home working. He was not able to come today. And then one final special thank you and shout out goes to my mom. Thank you for always supporting me and for always leaving a couple dollars in the drawer. I'm sure you noticed when they were gone, and you never said a word, but I also know that you knew I was always using them for the batting cage. So thank you. Now for a quick trip down memory lane. And after listening to Edsel talk at the beginning, it's kind of embarrassing to say, but you know, after 28 years, and most of us now approaching 50 or in our 50s, and Edsel's 90, this is kind of embarrassing to say, you know, that it's all a little bit fuzzy for me, okay? But there's one person on our team, though, that it would not be fuzzy, and that's Derek Harlan, because he was the only one that can remember. He remembers every single at-bat, every out, every pitch, everything. But I'll do my best with just a few stories here really quick. I'm going to start back in '95, just because that's when I first arrived on campus, along with a lot of other JUCO transfers who all thought we were pretty hot stuff. First of all, Bobo and all the other guys at the cockpit were the first ones to welcome us. And they welcomed us very, very quickly in only the way the cockpit knew. You know, and I appreciated all those times at the cockpit, and so did everybody else. And the time I appreciate the most, though, was the time that we had to retire my mug from the cockpit because maybe like a couple other people mentioned, didn't quite understand the whole class thing and had to get that back under control. But so appreciate that. The transition was difficult for all of us, along with the guys that had been here, but we all needed some time together to get to know one another and be a true team. The spring in '96 wasn't our best showing, but we were learning what it meant to be a Quincy Hawk. So I'm going to fast forward to the spring in '97, and it all started in Florence, Alabama with North Alabama. J-Rock ended the game with a ground ball to him, and he promptly pointed the ball right at their coach, right at their dugout, maybe had a choice word or two in the process of doing it, quickly before turning a 5-4-3 double play to end the game. Now that confidence, or maybe cockiness, but that was a springboard for our season. As the year went, we continued to win and set multiple individual and team records. Chad's maybe being the most impressive. But two of the most memorable games that I can remember were against conference rival Lewis University. In 1996, we all remember that game as the pillow game. And Coach definitely didn't like the pillow chest protector that the umpire was wearing behind the plate and spent the remainder of the game, therefore, in the van. Then, in 1997, we came back to Lewis. And before the game, we were leaving the hotel, and Coach saw a Taco Bell and a Red Lobster. And he asked, who are we going to play like today? Are we going to play like Taco Bell or Red Lobster? We went on to dominate that game with 2 homers by Hammer, and when it was done, we had a very, very special moment as we sat in the vans watching our rivals run after the game. And then, of course, we headed to Red Lobster. One other in-game moment that I'll never forget was in Indy, and that is the game that we refer to as the Carl Lewis game. Now, Dingus isn't here today, but Dingus, we all love you. But Kyle struggled a bit on pop-ups, especially if he had to go back like one step even, okay? And he was our second baseman, but he struggled just a bit on that. So, of course, there was a high pop-up, right? A few steps behind him, I played right field, J-Rock played third. J-Rock runs all the way over from third base for some reason, okay? He's out in center field, shallow right field. I'm running in from basically the warning track. The ball drops, they score. We get to the dugout, and J-Rock was not happy, okay? And J-Rock was letting us all know that he was not happy, and that ball had to be caught, okay? With emotions were running extremely, extremely high, and J-Rock came to me with fire in his eyes, and he said, you have to catch that beeping ball. We'll keep this family show. I replied to him, I was like, J-Rock, I couldn't catch that ball if I was bleeping Carl bleeping Lewis. And he looked right at me, and he said, well, next time, you better be Carl bleeping Lewis. Problem solved, right? Problem solved. Coach knew there was a ruckus going on. He stayed completely out of it. He knew it was under control. We took care of it. And that's how the Carl Lewis game came to be, okay? See, our expectations were high, and we all held everyone accountable. 1997 was one for the record books, and as we recorded the most wins in school history with 39, we became the first team in school history to make the NCAA Division II regional tournament. This team truly put Quincy baseball on the map and set the stage for the future. Now, just for a couple team stats really quick, these are all team things, not individuals, but just that season in 97, our team batting average was .340, while our opponent's batting average was .273. We recorded that season 475 runs, and our opponent's .297. That season, we had 410 RBIs, while our opponents only had 268. Our pitching staff as a team that year had a team ERA of 4.83, while our opponents doubled that with an 8.26 ERA. So some pretty impressive team stats, okay? And as this is for the team, we're going to keep it that, okay? Now just for a few other stories, because we all know that not all the best stories happen on the field. So back in those days, back on our road trip days, we didn't get the opportunity to take the fancy charter buses, right? Like everybody gets to take now. We got to ride in 15-passenger vans, you know, I'm pretty sure they're outlawed now. Like you can't find one. And so it's a miracle in itself that we even survived any of those trips. So if you've ever been in one, you know that's where the true team bonding tends to happen. And there was no such thing as personal space. Kite and Hammonds know that pretty well. By the end of those road trips, we knew who the worst euchre players were, and so did everybody else on the interstate. We learned how long it would take for a cup to wear out of a jockstrap as it was dragged outside the back window for miles before it would happen. Coach probably never knew about that one. And then there were these surprise attacks on the ramp as we rolled back into town. Those were always impressive. But those rides may not have been comfortable, but that's where all of the memories are, and then we still laugh about them today. Now, to Coach Atwell, and I know he mentioned in his speech that, he was thanking us for what we did, and he said it's never really about the coach, but it is, all right? So there's one special person recognition today, and that's Coach Atwell. From day one, Coach Atwell taught us that baseball was just that, baseball. The real lessons were about life. He pushed us to compete, to work hard, and to hold ourselves to a higher standard, not just as players, but as men. He taught us that character matters more than batting averages, that integrity lasts longer than any record, and how we treat others defines who we are. Coach always said the wins were great, but the thing that he is most proud of is seeing the men we have become, the husbands, the fathers, and the leaders in our communities. He modeled the way every single day for us, whether it was showing up early, holding us accountable, or putting his arm around someone who had just struck out for the third time in a row, letting them know that they were going to come back up with a chance to win that game. He lived the values he preached. He taught us that true success isn't measured by trophies, and that it is incredibly disrespectful to wear your QU hat backwards. Some of these guys had to learn that the hard way. So thank you, Coach Atwell, for loving us and guiding us through life. We owe the world to you. Now today, my heart is full standing here in front of you, but I know I speak for this entire team when I say the loss of our good friend Greg Hake in the summer of 1997 still hurts and leaves an empty space that will never be filled. Greg was an amazing athlete and, more importantly, a great human being. But due to injury, he redshirted in what would have been his senior year in '97. Greg was the ultimate supporter throughout the year, the best in-house wiffle ball player, plus my roommate. Today's recognition is just as much his as all of ours. On that final day of the season in Edwardsville, when we were down to our last out and due to crazy circumstances, from a broken glove to Derek getting ejected earlier in the game, we were down to a pitcher needing to hit. Sorry, pitchers. Greg looked at me and he said, "Just give me the AB. I'll give up my entire redshirt year for this one at-bat." Obviously, that can't happen, but that's who he was. Never about himself and always wanting the best for everyone else. Greg, as you look down on us today, know we miss you every day and that you will always be our angel in the outfield. Congratulations, brother. You're in the Quincy University Hall of Fame. Thank you, everybody, and it is truly a great day to be a Hawk.
Good evening, everybody. It's probably nighttime by now. There's not really much I can say that Edsel and Paul didn't already say. No offense. It's nice to be surrounded by pure athletes like myself sometimes. You look up here and some people look like they're just athletes. Others look like they're the poster child for Ozempic, right? It happens. John Kruk famously said, "I'm not an athlete, I'm a baseball player." And it works. Sometimes it just works. Some of us managed to do the 99-cent thing like Jeremy did and, put on 50 pounds, 60 pounds, 90 pounds. And no offense, but lots of people go to school for 7 years. Doctors. But, I was fortunate enough to come out here and play for an uncle, with a brother, with a Bobo, whatever that is. And we also lived in a mansion called the Cockpit, maybe defined a little bit differently. But our team was fortunate enough to change, like as mentioned before, it changed baseball at Quincy University. And that's a fact. From then on, it was different. Everybody was better, the teams were better. And another thing about the 1997 Hawks was that 54 of the 56 games we played were started by left-handed pitchers, which is pretty crazy. Harlan can remember games. I don't remember my junior year. So it just is. But the team has to gel as well. And we came out, and my wife had come out in 2017. And she said she's never seen anything like how we just picked up a conversation. I hadn't seen some of these people in 20 years. And we continued the conversation that we stopped 20 years ago. And the team has to gel. They can have all the talent in the world. But the team has to get along. The team has to gel. The team has to have fun. They got to play for the right people. They got to play with the right people. And that's kind of the most important thing. I got a call one time, Raby. I have no idea who the guy is. He's like, "Are you Owen Johnson?" "Yep." "Josh Raby just got moved up to AAA in Rochester, New York." I'm like, "All right." I was out water skiing or something. We go there, I jump over, hug him. He then moved onto the couch in my house, and I lived with us for, 5 years? Before I started dating my wife, when I got engaged to my wife, when I got married to my wife, Josh was there for all of it. So it's kind of special. Until we moved out of that house, it wasn't the guest room, it was Raby's room. That's just how it was. A lot of people up here are like brothers. And I had a brother that I played with, which was awesome. Played with an uncle, or for an uncle. And it's special. It's special to be up here, it's special to see everybody. Special, it's just, it's nice. When the school was founded in 1860, I'm sure Father Zimmerman remembers. Certain things happened that changed that changed the school, and the 97 Hawks are a thing that changed the school. Later on, people were drafted, baseball's on the map, people are in the Hall of Fame. You know, it's special. And it's special to play for an uncle, special to play with a brother, people I consider brothers, people I consider friends, some people I just consider. And, you know, that's about it. It's nice to see everybody. Thanks. I think we're still going to maybe make kickoff. And thanks for coming. You good? I just grabbed about half of these kids here.
Yeah, I know. I'd just like to personally congratulate all the Hall of Famers this year. A couple housekeeping items. If you want pictures, we will be up here to take pictures. Football game is at 1 p.m. Go Hawks. Sorry, we're going to beat that school today. Oh, well, we're not playing Truman, but, you know, I remember that from 2 hours ago. But anyway, congratulations. Thank you very much, and go Hawks.